Hello and welcome to another match reaction show on Football Talk Podcast. My name is Ozzy and I'm your host for today's show. Firstly, apologies for the timing of the show. I was supposed to do it on Saturday, had to reschedule it for yesterday, and yes, unfortunately, uh, personal life took over, so I wasn't able to do a show last night. But yeah, we're back here on Monday. Unfortunately, going to revisit the draw that took place on Saturday afternoon, which we all know, West Ham 2, Liverpool 2. So yeah, let's talk about it. So I'll discuss the key moments of the game. I'll also do the player ratings, and it's a calling show. So if you're watching live and you'd like to come on and have your say, the link is pinned in the live chat. So yeah, let's quickly discuss the first half. Liverpool actually started the game quite positively. I think the biggest chance from us, I know there was a moment where Gakpo nodded a header towards Elliott and then he missed the ball, but that was not really a clear-cut chance. I think that was just more of a hopeful head rather than anything else, because I feel like he was actually trying to aim for goal, and it just ended up going closer to Elliott than he actually envisioned. So in terms of Liverpool, Diaz probably had the best moment in the first half where he made a mazy run on the left side, cut it in, and unexpectedly took a shot that hit the outside of the post. So quite unlucky with that effort. And then Jared Bowen had a low shot that was parried away by Alisson for a corner. And this is where Liverpool, as a unit, fell asleep. They didn't react to that quick corner. Corner taken, and Bowen breaks the deadlock with a header. Fantastic header on his part in terms of the execution. Headed it down, bounced, and into the top corner. Alisson did get a hand to it, but I wouldn't put it on him in terms of the blame, or maybe I don't think he could have done better, but it's one of those shots where I think he had good power in it, so it was a difficult one to parry it. But for me, it was the defending that was the issue more than anything else. So very disappointing in terms of how Liverpool defended that set piece. And yeah, that was pretty much the first half. In terms of, I think it was neck and neck. I think we started off positively, and then West Ham had moments. They looked the more likely team to score because they were a bit more efficient with their passing and their quick play in terms of producing counter attacks. Liverpool, on the other hand, had a lot of the possession, but with possession, there was no real purpose or no real outcome. It was just sideways passes or backward passes and nothing really leading to any goal scoring chances. I don't think we had our first goal scoring chance until later on in the first half. So same with Liverpool, where you start off positively, look like you're going to be up for it. It kind of fizzles out after 10 minutes, and then it's just it's monotone in terms of how we play. It's just simple passes here and there, no creativity, no imagination, and yeah, we fell flat in the first half. So yeah, very disappointing in terms of how that first half panned out. When I was doing my live watching, I was actually saying that Klopp needs to make a couple of changes. So the two players that I had earmarked were Endo and Harvey Elliott. Endo for me was just getting outpaced left, right, and center. Just wasn't with the rhythm of the game. He wasn't able to make any interceptions, and yeah, the game was just going past him. And Harvey Elliott, who for me had decent moments, but he was very wasteful with the ball. And I feel like he gave the ball away quite a number of times. So I thought, with Mohamed Salah, who didn't start, available on the bench, this is a time to bring him on in the second half and go full attack mode in the opening minute. No substitutions were made. So it was the same personnel that started the second half. But regardless, a positive start for Liverpool as they broke the deadlock very early on. And it was an unlikely goal scorer in Andrew Robertson, who scored from close range. Fair play to him for him to be in that position. He's not really renowned for making those sort of runs. Got a bit of luck in terms of the goalkeeper. I think he should have done better in terms of the save. But hey, I couldn't care less in terms of how that went in. As long as it went in, it helped us in terms of not the outcome of the game, but it helped us in that moment of the game. So yeah, good goal from him in regards to that. And then Liverpool took the lead from some lucky fortune as Gakpo hits a shot from a corner. He ends up hitting a few players of West Ham, and it ends up finding itself rolling into the back of the net. So 2-1 up. And we were actually playing decent football at that time. So I thought maybe we can hang on and claim this win. I predicted a 2-1 in my match preview, so I was thinking, I got one right. But then Liverpool were hit with a blow as Antonio leaps in the air and heads it home for the Hammers. And unfortunately, poor defending for me from Kwanzaa, where he got easily pushed aside, and Antonio had a free jump and pretty much headed it point blank range. So, yeah, disappointing with that goal as well. And then, yeah, there was a bizarre moment that happened with Areola as he throws the ball away. He just got fouled previously, and I think it was a goal kick. I can't remember now, but the ball was with West Ham. It wasn't a free kick. It was free kick, wasn't awarded because there was no foul. So I think it was just a customary goal kick that was taking place. And then bizarrely, he just threw the ball out. And by the letter of the law, when you throw the ball out, it basically means the play is active. So Gakpo makes a run to get the ball. Ref blows the whistle before Gakpo was even able to get there. And for some reason, calls the West Ham medics to check on the goalkeeper. Now, I'll be brutally honest, the referee has made a complete hash of that. In hindsight, you're probably thinking if Gakpo had hit the back of the net, maybe that would have led to VAR reviewing that incident a bit further. But hey, we all know we can't rely on VAR, even if he did hit back to net. So, yeah, it's very strange. I can't help but feel a bit robbed by that moment, as it was a cheeky goal scoring chance where, look, the keeper, I don't think he actually did. And I think he made a brutal mistake. And the keeper tried to cover the referee tried to cover him up with that. And I wish you could hear the audio with what the ref was saying, because it felt like he told the keeper to lie down on the floor and pretend you're injured even further. So that's cheating in my eyes. So yeah, we've had a lot of moments like this. I'm not here to, play victim or bring the violins out, but there's been a lot of these moments for Liverpool this season. So, it's just one of those ones where unfortunately we become a bit numb to it. If it was another team, they'd probably be screaming and shouting right now. So, no, I think that should have been a goal for Liverpool where, look, an error was made by the goalkeeper. Gakpo capitalized and hit the empty net there. So, yeah, it is what it is. But unfortunately, nothing came of it. And then that wasn't even the big talking point. The big talking point was a moment between Mohamed Salah and Jurgen Klopp just before he was substituted on the pitch. They had a little spat on the touchline. Now, in terms of my thoughts of what happened, I'll be brutally honest, I don't think it was right for Mohamed Salah to react in the way he did, especially speaking to your manager, which is Jurgen Klopp. That wasn't the time, that wasn't the place to have those kind of discussions. Yes, I understand he was probably frustrated because he didn't start the game. I don't actually think it's because he didn't start the game. I think he was more frustrated because he was being brought on around the 79th minute, so only with 10 minutes to go. Normally, when you're making that sort of substitution, it's a formality rather than, I want you to go in and make an impact on the game, because it was 2-2 at the time. So, I don't know. I was saying that Salah should have been brought on at halftime or at max the hour mark. So at least he's given at least 30 odd minutes to have an impact on the game. He only played around 10, 15 minutes. So I think that's where the frustration lied on, in terms of him probably expecting to come on sooner rather than later. So yeah, in terms of that incident there, look, these things happen on the pitch. I think the media and certain sections of the fan base have blown out of proportion. I don't think it was that big of a deal. You do see this on the pitch. It's just that it's Jurgen Klopp and it's Mohamed Salah. So two high-profile people that represent Liverpool Football Club. One manager leaving, so it's to paint the picture that there's an issue within the squad. It doesn't make a difference because he's leaving soon anyway. And then you've got the whole contract talks with Mohamed Salah. We've got a few games remaining. We're close to ending the season right now. Is he going to get a new contract? Is he not? Or maybe he's not happy at the club. Who knows? That's another topic for another day. But yeah, when it comes to Liverpool, I always feel like it's blown out of proportion, and that's exactly what happened there. So yeah, unfortunately, overshadowed the actual game that moment. I think that was a talking point by a lot of people during the weekend. But hey, but in terms of the game, Harvey Elliott actually ended up having a moment where he could have given Liverpool the lead very later in the game, but unfortunately, his effort hit the top of the crossbar. And look, that was the end of the game. So looking back at it, I feel like we deserved the win, as in not by a huge amount. I feel like at 2-1, that scoreline would have sufficed for me to say, yeah, we deserved the win. But having said that, West Ham showed good moments in the game. They showed a good attitude to keep going, never giving up, and playing to their strengths, playing on the counter attack. So you have to give them credit in terms of the actual outcome. But for Liverpool, same old story in the last few weeks, where we had a number of chances to win, weren't able to convert. Even just the manner of how we're playing is so lethargic, so lackluster, that it feels like pre-season, where you haven't played football in a while. It's just one speed right now. They're not able to up a level or think outside the box or be creative, where you're doing something slightly out of the norm. The only player that was doing that on the pitch was Luis Diaz, but that's his persona. That's how he is on the pitch. He's a live wire. He's flamboyant in terms of how he plays. So he's always going to do the unexpected, because that's part and parcel of being a tricky winger. So for me, yeah, unfortunately, we're a reflection of our current manager right now, where he's lacking energy. He says he doesn't on camera, but we're no mugs. We can clearly see on the pitch that being a manager of Liverpool Football Club has taken its toll on him, and the last few weeks, unfortunately, it's taken a toll on him even further. So yeah, the team look flat. They don't look like they have that fight anymore. The titles for me was done last week, officially. I know a lot of fans mentioned that it was gone a few weeks ago. I probably was holding on to their life into saying, no, we're still there. We can make it happen, or we can try and get back into it, and let's see what happens towards the end of the game, or end of the season. Yeah, it's pretty much done and dusted now. So for us, it's just to make sure we try and win the next few games, try and end the season on a high, and give a good send off to Jurgen Klopp. But yeah, that's how it is for Liverpool right now. We're a bit up and down right now, not playing to our usual standards. But hey, that's the outcome. Another point on the board, but with no purpose or importance in terms of the league standing right now. So yeah, so that's my match review. Before we conclude, I will quickly do the player ratings. It's been a couple of days. So I'm trying to figure out how the teams play, so it won't be a very detailed player ratings, but I'll try my best to remember what I saw during that game. So let's present the graphic for you guys. So let's start with Alisson. So I mentioned earlier on in terms of his save for that first goal, he did get a touch on it, but I don't think it was one where I can categorically say he should have saved it. It was just one where, because he got a touch to it, maybe he could have nudged it a bit more. But I think he was outstretched as much as possible and was unable to parry it away from goal. But after that, he did have quite a few saves, and he looked comfortable in terms of possession. There's one more where he dropped the ball, and I was like, oops, that could lead to another opening. So he had one of those moments, but thankfully for us, it didn't lead to anything catastrophically. So I would say, yeah, in terms of his rating, I'll give him a 7 out of 10. Trent, for me, had a decent game. I think his passing was probably on the positive side in terms of other players on the pitch, where his passing was more forward thinking rather than just doing little passes here and there or sideways passes, which is what you want from Trent. But I wanted it from other players on the pitch as well. But so he was the only positive spark, I would say, especially from our defense. Robertson tried it as well, but didn't have much success with his crossing. So for me, he had a decent game, I guess, to his level. He had a free kick chance that just went over the bar, similar range to that goal he scored against Fulham. So yeah, that's a decent game. So I'll give him a 7 out of 10. Let's go for Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa I thought was a bit shaky. There was moments in the first half where I thought he looked good on the ball, very calm and composed. Unfortunately, it was his error or lack of experience, whatever you want to call it, for that second goal where he got pushed out of the way. He wasn't goal side of the defender, so that led to him easily being pushed away, and then Antonio having the space to execute a point blank header. So error for the goal there, unfortunately. It's a shame because Kanate can't seem to pick up good form, and Kwanzaa has been a bit hit and miss as well. So yeah, it's just a tricky end to our season right now. So unfortunately, I'm going to give him a bit of a low rating. It's going to be 6 out of 10. Now, in terms of Van Dijk, I thought he was okay. I think it was decent in terms of the level that he presented, but no, it wasn't a stellar performance by no stretch of the imagination. I don't think he was beaten too much on the ball. Passing was quite basic. He didn't really ping a lot of long range passes. Maybe that was because Salah wasn't playing. So, not saying Elliot's not capable of controlling the ball, but it was maybe not something that was his sort of pattern of play for him to do so in this game. So for me, another decent performance. Not the best, obviously, considering 2 goals can't be too high. So he gets a 7. And Robertson actually got on the score sheet, so fair play to him. In terms of his play, he had a tricky afternoon. Marking Kudus, who played on the left, but then also played on the right. He had Jared Bowen, where he was marked for predominant of the time. And yeah, Jared Bowen, I wouldn't say got the best of him. Like, he did a couple of occasions, to be fair. Just realized. I remember one moment where he literally took Robertson out and he ended up outside of the pitch. So no, not a tricky afternoon for him. But he got the goal for us, so you have to give him a bit of a boost in terms of his rating. So I'll give him a 7.5 out of 10. Endo, as I mentioned, I wasn't impressed with him. I thought he was very laboured in terms of how he performed, regardless if that was his passing or his overall play or defensive contribution. I don't think he was there. However, in the second half, I think he improved. He looked a bit more tenacious, quicker off his feet. So trying to dive in and make a few tackles, which he did. But I think because it's such a poor sort of performance in the first half, I can't really push it too high. So I'm just going to give him a 6 out of 10. McAllister for me was good, but he wasn't. When he plays a bit more thorough, I just expect a bit more because I've seen him have such great performances. Unfortunately, he didn't really have much influence in his game. Showed a good passing variation, but wasn't really threading some blind through balls. He did have a couple of moments here and there, but that's when I want McAllister to unlock defenses when he's playing as a further midfielder rather than as a number 6. When he's playing as a number 8, that's when I want him to be a bit more creative. Unfortunately, he didn't really showcase that in this game, so I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. Gravenberch for me was very impressive from what he showed from that game against Fulham. He's continued that form onwards, showed different level of energy. He was playing with a bit more purpose, a bit more drive, a lot more confidence, carrying the ball fantastically. He had a couple of shots towards goal as well. I was very impressed with his performance, and it stems well for the future. Obviously, we might have a new potential manager in Onslaught, which, yeah, it's not official, but it looks like it's pretty much a done deal now. So having a Dutch manager will probably help in terms of his progression at the club. But in terms of how he performed in this game, I was very impressed. Unlucky not to score with his shots there. So I'm going to give him a good rating. I think he deserves an 8 out of 10. Harvey Elliott, as I mentioned in the first half, had a shaky first half where I felt like he gave the ball away quite a few times. I was wasteful in possession. Second half, he definitely picked it up, was much better in the second half. There was moments where he looked a bit more positive in his output. He was coming infield a bit more, so showed a bit more variations, play going out wide, but coming infield at times, so creating a bit of uncertainty for the opposition. And he had that shot towards the end of the game where he hit the top of the crossbar. If that had gone in, you know, all kinds of scenes at London Stadium. So no, I think he had a decent game. So for his rating, I'm going to give him. I'll give him a 7 out of 10. I think he definitely improved in the second half. First half, a bit shaky in my opinion. Gakpo, I was very impressed with. Showed a lot more aggression in his play. He was pressing from the front very well. Intercepted the ball quite a few times, so dropped deep to make interceptions, try and get the ball and set people up. Had a couple of shots, but nothing really clear cut where I feel like, oh, he was wasteful in front of goal. But he's showing signs of being the player that we saw last season. Just needs to get his shooting boots on, I guess, because he hasn't been scoring to kind of round up these decent performances that he's had in the last 2-3 weeks. So if he adds some goals to his name, then it'll cement his position in the team and possibly for next season as well. So this is kind of like an audition for the new manager as well, where you're showcasing your ability. So yeah, you got to perform to the highest level because the centre forward position is up for grabs next season, in my opinion. I'll probably go on to say I think we need to sign another striker, but as I mentioned, we'll talk about transfers on another show. But in terms of his performance today, I thought he was just as good at Gravenberch, so I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. And the final player, Luis Diaz, yeah, he was. I feel like he was a man on his own mission, where the other players, they weren't really on his same wavelength. He was just like, you know what? I don't need you guys. I'm going to try and do some on my own. And he did that on several occasions, bombing down that left side on frequent occasions. Almost scored in the first half, as I mentioned, when he hit the outside the post. No, so he was very positive. He's the one that gave us that spark where maybe we could create an opening in the final third. So I was really impressed with his performance. Very positive in terms of attitude, never gave up, kept on going. Obviously, didn't last the full 9 minutes, but for me, still had a good game. So I'm going to give him an 8.5. And because of that, that clearly shows that he's the best rated player in my team. And he gets man of the match. So if you're watching live, drop a comment. Let me know what you guys think of my rating. Have I been nice? Been a bit, bit emotional in terms of giving people low scores? Drop a comment. Let me know. If you're watching a replay, drop your comment in terms of the whole team and let me know your actual ratings for each player in the first lineup. Let's go a comment here from Madison Smith. We got Madison says, with chances for the title looking slim, what do you want to see from Liverpool for the rest of the season? Try and get some wins. It's been a while since we've had a few wins. So obviously we've got the win against Fulham the other day. But no, just to end the season, giving it your all and try and notch up some wins and do it for Klopp in terms of like leaving the season with some more wins. Obviously, in terms of positioning of the table, we're not going to climb up. We're going to probably, safe to say, we'll probably finish third. There's still outside chance of us finishing in second place. But no, for me, it's try and end the season on a high for the fans and for the manager. And, you know, if I'm speaking honestly, for the players' point of view as well, they need to perform to a good level before the season wraps up because there's a new manager walking through the door very, very soon. So they need to showcase their abilities to make sure that those players are in the forefront of the thoughts of the new manager. He will know a lot of these players, don't get me wrong, but if he sees it in a Liverpool shirt, it might have a different opinion. So, for example, if Gakpo really turns up in the next few weeks, maybe on Slot, who, you know, allegedly, we're going by rumors now that he will become the next manager. He may see him as being the number 9 for us next season. You know, so there's a lot of things to play for. You know, just because us winning our remaining games doesn't lead to us winning a trophy or anything else. End of the day, we finished in the top 4, which was the aim. I predicted we were going to win the league, but you know, I wasn't that far off. But you can see why I predicted that in the beginning of the season. But we're going to qualify for Champions League football, which is a plus point for us next season. Even though Europa League was an interesting campaign, but we all know Champions League is the place to be. And for me, it's important just to end the season on a high in terms of getting some wins, because you don't want to end the season where you've not won or you've been drawing the remainder of the games. It just adds a bit of a sour note in terms of the wrap up for Jurgen Klopp and his reign at the club. So yeah, continue, try and get some wins. It's football. You can't go playing in a football match with the thought that I'm not going to win today. That's the number one goal. So keep that mentality up. Do it for Klopp, and yeah, end the season on a high. And yeah, that would be my approach for the players there. So, but yeah, at the minute they look like they're lacking energy. So hopefully they can find it somehow. We're not playing any other competition, so this is the time for them to work it out in training, I guess. Let's got another comment in from Hakeem. It says, "Big up Ozzy, big up Hakeem. Thank you for your comment and thank you for your contribution." Before we wrap up, I will quickly mention the subs. I don't even know if it's worth doing, to be fair, but I'll just do it for the record because our first substitutions happened around the 79th minute. So they only had about 10 to 15 minutes, and I'll be brutally honest, neither of them really had an impact on the outcome of the game, and I can't really analyze their performance like that. But let's just do it for argument's sake. So, who came on? So it was Joe Gomez for Trent. So that was like for like. And then we had Mohamed Salah for Diaz. And then we had Nunes on for Endo. Don't worry, I'll put these players in their correct positions very shortly. And then we had Szoboszlai on for Kwanzaa. So Szoboszlai. So bloody hell. Yeah, it's a crazy formation, isn't it? So we'll just, I don't even know if we played a back three, but let's just do it for argument's sake now. Yeah, it's a bit of a mixed match team, isn't it? And yeah, Darwin Núñez. Yeah, I don't even know what to make of this. Yeah, let's just do it like that. I don't know. To be fair, I've lost focus in terms of how we were setting up towards the end of the game. But yeah, I feel like we probably went all guns blazing, and that's how it ended up looking. In terms of Gomez, yeah, he came in, did his shift, did his thing. So, yeah, he kept it solid, but he didn't really do anything for me to say he stood up. So I'll give him a 6 out of 10. And Salah had very little touches. I feel like he probably touched the ball 2-3 times, and that was pretty much it. Oh, sorry, Salah should be there, isn't it? Salah, yes. Why are there so many players here? This does not seem right. Let me have a look again. So Trent Diaz, I don't know. It's been a long day. So for Salah, I'll give him a 5. And then Szoboszlai literally came on for, was it a few minutes? I'll give him a 5 just for customary. And Núñez, I don't remember what he did, to be honest with you. So I'll give him a 5 as well. But yeah, subs had no impact whatsoever. So there's not much really to talk about on what they did. It's got a few comments here from Hakeem, who says, "I don't understand why Liverpool have looked flat since United in the Cup." It's a bizarre one, Hakeem, to be honest with you. I just feel like the players that have been fit since February, they've just been overworked. So even the young players, the likes of Conor Bradley, who probably weren't expected to play in this team, end up playing more than they probably have dreamt of, because obviously we had a lot of injuries with regards to Trent and other players in the team. So I feel like all the squad players that end up being utilized that weren't expected to be utilized were overworked. They end up getting injured themselves. And then you had recurring injuries with like Jota and Trent and Alisson. So it kind of affected the way we set up as a team. But I feel like there were a lot of results during that Feb-March period where we were just grinding out results. And I don't think we played fantastically to get those results. And we were probably riding our luck for a lot of those games. And it's just come back to not to haunt us, but I say it's come back to reality where it's like, you guys rolled your luck. This is how you really should be playing, because it's bizarre. It's especially the attackers, because this is not the first time this season where all of our attackers have been off form. There was a period of time early in the season where none of our strikers could score a goal. So it was just like, in terms of up top, we've been very wasteful. I'm not really here to pinpoint players, but for argument's sake, players like Nunes who have a high ratio of missing big game chances, some of those chances were converted, different outcome of the game. So yeah, I don't think it's one thing to point in terms of what's happened. I feel like it's a combination of players being overworked, using inexperienced players, and you can't really overuse them too much as well. Sometimes the likes of McConnell, Bobby Clark, and Dan's. Bradley ended up playing a lot more and probably add Bradley to that list. Those players weren't really supposed to be anywhere near the first team right now. So with that in mind, you can't overuse them because you don't want to hamper their development, because if you throw them in a game where they completely lose their confidence, it can actually have a long-term effect on them as well. So club had to manage their team selection a bit more. And because a lot of the times, especially in the second half of the season, we were playing with a lot of injuries, it's just had a domino effect on the team altogether. So, not having Matip around has been big loss for us. Having Thiago and Bajcetic pretty much out for the whole season. And let's be brutally honest, we might have seen them here and there, but we've been 2 midfielders down, and then Curtis Jones was out for 2 or 3 months. So injuries have definitely played a part. And I know people are like, oh, you always talk about injuries and all that stuff, but it's a fact. And obviously, a lot of teams go through injuries, but it's the only thing that I can present in terms of why things haven't gone to plan in the last 2 or 3 months. So yeah, and also those results, the one you're referring to, the United one, I think that killed a bit of momentum for us, because the group of boys probably thought that we could probably try and go for the quad, and because that one was the first one that pretty much was a blow to us. It might have had a negative sort of subconscious approach for the upcoming games. The Atalanta one, I don't want to say we didn't respect them as an opposition, but I just don't know. I just don't think we turned up for that game. And obviously the first leg killed the whole tie, regardless of what happened in the second leg. So yeah, it's a tough one to take. I'll be honest with you. I can't pinpoint exactly, but it's a combination of players being overworked, a lot of injuries to our key players, our creative players in the team as well, our rock in terms of Alisson. Jota's come on and he scored a couple of goals. Now he's injured again. So yeah, it's just been all over the place for Liverpool. So it's a tough one to take because 2-3 weeks ago we were still pretty much there to make a charge for this title race, but we've fallen short. And yeah, it's come up too soon for us, I think, in terms of throwing the towel, because I'm not someone that likes to do that. But yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame in terms of how this is ended, because you want it to be where you've at least fought until the last fixture. And I know some fans are like, why would you want to, fight until the last day and then lose the title? You got to be in it to win it. Anything can happen. If it's meant to be, it would have been where we would have been crowned champions at the end. And that would have been a fantastic sign-off. For me, winning the Europa League would have been the best sign-off as well, because it's the trophy that Klopp hasn't won. So he could have walked away and said he's won all trophies. And the Premier League would have been the icing on the cake. But unfortunately, it wasn't to be. We all said everything changed from that game. Yeah, everything from there on, it did change, unfortunately. And it's such a deflating end to an era. Yeah, that's the problem. It is a very deflating end to an era. And as I said earlier in the show, the players right now are a reflection of our current manager, where he looks tired, he just looks overworked, he's out of steam, and that's the team right now, unfortunately. So it's a hard pill to swallow. But look, Madison asked me, what do Liverpool do now for the rest of the season? Try and win all of the remaining games. What else can we do? That's the approach you got to have. You can't just be like, oh, we're not going to win the title, let's throw it away. You don't want it to be where, you know, your points tally doesn't reflect how you've been this season as well. So try and get those points tally up. Try and end the season on a win and give Klopp a positive sign-off that he deserves, because he's been phenomenal for us. 9 years at the club. For me, by far one of the best managers during my lifetime in terms of what he's brought to the club, the city, the football, the type of football we've been watching. You know, some might say that it's too attack-minded, and that's why we've never been able to control games and win certain titles because of the way we play. But hey, look, end of the day, as fans, we were entertained and we watched some amazing football over the years. So let's cherish those moments, because for me, Klopp is a club legend by without a shadow of a doubt. So for me, the players need to end the season on a high and try and win some games for Jurgen Klopp. So yeah, so that's the end of the show, guys. Thank you to everyone for tuning in. Thank you to Madison for the question, and thank you to Hakeem for your comments. Appreciate your participation as always, guys. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. In terms of upcoming shows, so this match week's another long one. The last game that will be played is Thursday, and I believe it's Chelsea versus Tottenham. So I'll be doing the Premier League match week review Friday night. Or should I do a bit? So probably be Friday at 6 p.m. So that's to be confirmed, but it'll most likely be 6 p.m. And I'll also do the preview of Liverpool versus Tottenham. Is it Anfield? Let me just double check with you guys. Yes. It is at Anfield. So I'll do the match preview this Friday. So that will be after the show. It'll be 6 o'clock Premier League review show, and then 6:30 I will do the match preview of Liverpool versus Tottenham. And then on Sunday, I'll do the live watch along, and I'll try and do the match reaction the same evening. So yeah, let's see how it goes. But as always, guys, take care, stay safe, and I hope to see you all very, very soon. Goodbye.